Okay, we are back, and better than ever before, Kimberly Klein, F&I manager extraordinaire, turned F&I auto advocate extraordinaire, Papa Shevska.
Yeah.
As always, Papa Shevska. We're going to be talking about the
I'm not
three
quite sure
reasons.
what that means, but go ahead.
Comment down below what that means. The 3 reasons why you need to know your credit before you head into a car dealership. Kimberly's going to walk us through that. But before she does, I want to share with both of you guys, we got a new wizard.
No, you're kidding.
Back at the website. Yeah.
A wizard?
Yeah. What
you
kind
mean
of
with
wizard?
the hat?
With a hat and
moons
a
stars.
Moons and
Can James put a wizard hat on? My
yeah, I told you explicitly not to ask him to do that because it takes a lot of work, but we'll see.
Okay.
So back at yourautoadvocate.com, if you go to the website right now, we've got a new little wizard. You can get Ray's recommendation, my dad's recommendation on if you actually should even be thinking about extended warranties or vehicle service contracts. It's a little thing. We'll put it up on the screen. Super neat, super easy, 100% free. You don't have to give us an email or anything. Free, just like everything we do around here.
Nice.
Take a peek back at yourautoadvocate.com. Sound cool, guys? You guys will check it out, please?
Absolutely.
I've got to leave right now. I got to go get my laptop
I'll race
and
you
check
there.
out the wizard.
I'll race you there.
Okay, so on to the reason
exciting.
why folks actually clicked on this video. So what are the 3 reasons? Dad, do you have any guesses before we hand off to Kimberly?
Well, one of the reasons is so that you can know if they're trying to take advantage of you in finance with the interest rate they're offering you.
Is that right, Kimberly?
That would be one of them. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, let's start with the easiest one, and that is because you should. You just should. There are so many resources out there for you to find out what your credit score is, find out what is on your credit, how it looks. I mean, there's free and paid ones. There is no reason today why anyone should walk into a dealership without knowing what their credit looks like first. Am I right?
I concur 100%. It falls into the category of knowledge is power, and that's a basic knowledge that every consumer should have.
Absolutely, Ray.
Yes.
Absolutely. Knowledge is power. Okay. Second reason, this is really important because you, Ray, I'm sure, as a sales manager, have done this a million trillion times. Whenever the salesperson brings numbers out to you, a sales manager will show you a payment range generally, but there's a interest rate that sales managers use. What interest rate did you use, Ray?
It was usually 4.5%, 5%. As we like to say when people would ask, well, what's the interest rate? Well, we just use a generic interest rate until we know exactly what your credit score is. The rate we're using could be a little high. It could be a little low. It's pretty much in the middle, so we should be okay.
There you go.
Yeah.
So with that being said, now the dealership that I worked at, we used 7%, sometimes 8%, for the reason that you just said. But if you know what your credit is and you walk into a dealership and you take a look at your payment range that the sales manager and the salesperson has presented to you, you can ask nicely, would you please show me what the payment would look like at the 2.9 that the manufacturer has to offer, or the 1.9, whatever you feel that you want. That's within your power to say, hey, show me these payments at whatever interest rate you want to see those payments. Am I right?
Because you could say to the salesperson, hey, just between you and I went and I figured out what my credit score was before I came in today, and I know I'm a 785. So please, I know you need to know what my credit score is before you can quote me an interest rate, but I know I'm going to qualify for the factory subvented rate, so please show me the payments at 2.9. Yeah.
You got it.
Yeah.
You got it. So use that and understand it. And then the third reason is something that we talked about a couple of videos ago, and it was about inquiries. You want to know what your credit looks like ahead of time. And I know that there were a lot of questions. I think the other night on the live when I was watching you guys, there were some questions about how many times does my credit get hit? Mm-hmm. And that's kind of a gray area, isn't it? Nobody really has an answer. If you have great credit, you are going to get a hard hit on your credit. But if you have aged credit, it's going to take a short dip, a couple of points, and bounce back quickly. Period. Whenever you take on a new debt of a new vehicle, that also pulls your credit score down a couple of points too, but it quickly comes back up as soon as you make your first payment. Actually, it'll start coming back up. If you're a mid-tier credit, it might be a few more points only because it looks as if you're shopping. If you go shopping from dealership to dealership to dealership, this is why you want to know what your credit is, because they are hard hits. And if you don't have well-established credit, I know it doesn't make sense, but it is going to it's going to pull your credit down more points. So be careful with your shopping. You can request the finance manager to only send your deal to 3 banks. If you have mid-credit, you can request the finance manager to send your deal out to find the best rate to maybe 4 or 5 banks. But if you have bad credit and they have a hard time getting that deal done or that loan done, they're going to send you out to many different banks, and that's going to hurt even more. So this is just, I don't know, some...
I had never really thought about that, Kimberly, but that's actually a really good point. Like, we've done a lot of videos where we talk about those that have the least kind of also then are at biggest risk of getting taken advantage of in the dealership. If you've got deep subprime credit, you're actually a great candidate. We had that sweet spot video, right? 500 credit score. We can link to that up there. But what you just said actually makes even more sense to me in with regards to you're going to get shotgunned out to even more banks, which could have even more of a negative impact on your credit. And so we've talked, at least in listening to both of you, I heard you talk both about like, I've got really good credit, so I should get the lower credit score. This video is equally as important for someone to level set with, okay, I don't have great credit, or maybe I don't have a very thick file. It's pretty thin. Like, I need to have that understanding before I walk in, so I have good expectations. Because the last thing you want to do is walk in and it's already a pretty adversarial, relationship from Jump Street. But if you know where you fall, generally speaking, you can at least have a bit of a better offensive plan.
That's one of the reasons to know what your credit score is, to know what your credit file looks like prior to going into a dealership. So even if it's just so you can have a conversation with the finance manager and say, listen, I know my credit score falls somewhere between 720 and 740. And I want to limit the number of inquiries there are. I know you would have a pretty good idea as to what bank you would want to use for somebody whose credit score falls in that range. So please only submit it to that bank or those 2 banks that you would think of.
You got it. There's so much packed into this, and forgive me if I'm trying to make sense of it all because there are so many variants. And Ray, you just made that very clear. So all the more reason to know what your credit looks like before you go in, and discuss it with the finance manager before he sends it off to 10 different banks.
Exactly.
That's not going to help you with your credit. And then if they can't get you done at that dealership and you go to another dealership, now you're going to have more inquiries on your credit. Know it before you go.
And if I can add one other thing,
please
make sure that it's a car that you would want to buy before you say to the dealership, yeah, please shop me around to see what kind of loan rate you can get me.
You got it. Absolutely.
Yeah. Just only do it when you've decided this is the car I want.
Yes. You don't want to be bouncing around from car to car and from dealership to dealership. Knowledge is power. Very much so when it comes to your credit. Know it ahead of time.
And there's no reason in today's world not to know it.
So one farting.
Farting?
Oh my. One parting and final. That's what happens when you put.
At lunch or what?
Okay.
Nah, man, it's been a day. One parting shot. And Kimberly, this is actually for you and I to think about, I think, after this video is we have back at the Your Auto Advocate website, we have the document my dad put together for like jargon and acronyms and language that the people at the dealership use on the sales side. We should create the same thing, I think, for in the F&I office, like terms and jargon and things that, my dad said subvented about 6 minutes ago, and I still have no clue what that means. And so I think if you're interested in that idea, if you're watching this at this point, comment down below. Let us know, do you want like a glossary of terms and acronyms and jargon you'll hear in the F&I office? And we can work with Kimberly to put that together and get the definitions for you. If you want it, let us know down below. If you don't want it, don't let us know.
If you don't want it,
below.
you should.
It'll be free.
Yeah.
It'll be free.
Yeah. Yeah, so ask us to do
Yeah,
it.
even if you just snap a picture of it with your phone or download it to your phone so that when you're there, you can pull it up on your phone quickly. And
let's make it like a web page. It's just a URL. Like I'm in the F&I office. Okay, here's the terms that they might use. All right. We'll take this offline. Thank you, guys. Thank you, Kimberly. Thank you, Dan.
Well, thank you, Zach.
Thank you,
Good
guys.
seeing you again, Kimberly.
Good seeing you,
Yeah,
Greg.
buddy.
Woo!